Hello, hello to the bass people of the bass world. It's Jeff from jeffrey-thomas.com, and we're going to talk about the sensitive subject of modes today. Everybody's talking about modes and just making it stupid, confusing, crazy, unnecessary. Okay, so make sure you're requesting this worksheet off my website, and we will get down to business. Now, I feel personally that modes get confused because everybody's thinking of them in terms of scales, which they are. Nobody's talking about the interval structure of the modes, which is exactly the DNA of what they are. So we're in the key of C, and the problem with scales is how many different ways can you cut just a C major scale, one octave, right? So first position, straight across, forward, come up to eighth position. You get my point. So bass players, guitar players, etc. are thinking of these modes in terms of scale patterns. They're not seeing what they are in terms of intervals. That's what we're doing today. So if we go to C Ionian, which is the church mode name for C major, and we break it down by intervals, we have C to D, which is a major second. We have C to E, which is a major third. We have C to F, which is a perfect fourth. We have C to G, which is a perfect fifth. We have C to A, which is a major sixth. And we have C to B, which is a major seventh. And then you have your octave, and you're back home. Okay, so a major scale, not thinking of it in terms of a scale, is these intervals. Major second, perfect, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh. Done. Any time you play that order of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, you are going to get this interval structure. And a major scale is going to be like a parent scale for the Lydian and the Mixolydian scales. We'll get to that in a minute. So now let's move to D Dorian. Okay? So D Dorian is the second degree of any major scale. Dorian is the name for that scale. In this case, D to D. But if we break it down in terms of intervals, we've got D to E, which is a major second. We've got D to F, which is a minor third. D to G, perfect fourth. D to A, perfect fifth. Here we go. A major sixth, and then D to C, minor seventh. We'll talk about that in a minute when we get to the relative minor, but let's keep cruising. E Phrygian, in the key of C, the third degree of the scale is E. When you create a scale going from E to E, it's called Phrygian, and here's what the interval structure of a Phrygian scale is. We start, I'll go to the low E here, and we got E to F, half step, minor second, okay? E to G, minor third, E to A, perfect fourth, E to B, perfect fifth, E to C, minor sixth, E to D, minor seventh. Okay, so we're going to throw Dorian and Phrygian in the minor category. Let's go to Lydian now. We're on the fourth scale in the key of C. So F Lydian. What is F Lydian? Well, F to G, whole step, major second. F to A, major third. F to B, augmented fourth. Keep that in mind. F to C, perfect fifth. F to D, major sixth. F to E, major 7th. Now we have our comparison. Let's go and compare F Lydian to C major. I don't even want to say Ionian because it's just a whatever. You can impress chicks with that if you want. What is an F Lydian scale? An F Lydian mode is a major scale with a augmented 4th. I have that spelled out for you clear as day here. There it is right there. These are all the intervals that are off, right? So I've highlighted all the intervals that make these scales what they are. Quit thinking of modes as scales, start thinking of modes as intervals, and your life is going to get a lot better. So now we can put a Lydian scale in the major category because it is essentially a major scale with an augmented 4th or a raised 4th. Or if you're playing guitar, it can also be a sharp 11 if you're dealing with extensions, compound intervals. All right, G Mixolydian. Here we go with G Mixolydian. Let's go G to A. That's a whole step, major 2nd. G to B. That's a major 3rd. G to C, perfect 4th. G to D, perfect 5th. G to E, major 6th. G to F. That is minor 7th, my friends. So, guess what? Guess what box the Mixolydian goes into? It goes into the major box, and it is a major scale with a minor 7th. That is the characteristic, undisputed interval structure of a Mixolydian scale or mode, however you want to slice it, however you want to dice it. Let's go on to Aeolian, Aeolian, which is the relative minor, natural minor scale. And here's our interval structure. This is the parent scale for the minors now, by the way. So A to B, we got a whole step, major 2nd. B to C, minor 3rd. A to D, perfect 4th. A to E, perfect 5th. A to F, minor 6th. A to G, minor 7th. Okay, that is the interval structure for a natural minor scale. I don't care how you want to play the scale. If you want to go this way, or this way, right? It doesn't matter how you cut the scale across the fretboard. That's the interval structure that you're getting. So look at what's happening. Let's go back now to Dorian. Look at the interval structure for a D Dorian scale. Everything matches up with a minor, with the relative minor, except for the 6th. There's a major 6 in the Dorian scale. Let's put it in a box. Let's quit getting confused about it. A D Dorian mode is a minor scale with a major 2nd, or a major 6th. Period. That's also going to affect your chord comp. I don't know if many people are getting into chord comping, but say you're playing with a trio or whatever, and you've got a guitar player who's a little bit antsy, and he wants to, go off on D Dorian for 3 weeks. Well, how about this? That chord right there is a D minor sharp 6. I have a B natural in there. If I was in D minor, I'd have a B flat, and we'd be dealing with a different deal. Okay, so how many times have you heard that? Okay, D minor 7 to D minor 6, and then there is some confusion about the 6. Is the 6th raised or is it flat? When I write chords out, I always write D minor sharp 6 to let everybody know, okay, yeah, this has got the raised 6 in it. Anyway, let's go to Phrygian, because Phrygian also falls in the minor box. What's weird about a Phrygian scale? Well, the first interval, E to F, we have a minor 2nd, or a flat 9, however you want to think of it. Look at the rest of the intervals, compare them to the Aeolian scale. Minor 2nd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 6th, minor 7th. The only thing that's weird about a Phrygian scale, Phrygian mode, whatever, scale's a mode, mode's a scale, is the minor second. Done. End of story. No more confusion. All right, B Locrian, the 7th degree of a major key or the 2nd degree of a minor key if you're in a minor key. So what do we have? Well, right off the bat, B to C. Okay, there's a half step, minor second. B to D, okay, minor third. B to E, perfect fourth. B to F, diminished fifth. B to G, minor sixth. B to A, minor seventh. So that falls in the minor box as well. Only this one has 2 alterations in it. The second is minor and the 5th is diminished. So look, don't listen to me, okay? Don't. You probably aren't. Go look at Barry Harris's video. Barry Harris, who is like one of the most straightforward jazz teachers. He's brilliant. And find his video and listen to what he says about modes. Listen to what that man says about modes. And then you go in and you rethink everybody that you've heard talk about modes, who is talking about modes as a scale, right? And you reevaluate it and you step back and you listen to how much confusion they're creating because they're simply not addressing what the interval structure of the modes are. Period. Done. End of story. Okay? So all the books that have been written on modes, which Barry Harris says somebody needed to make money, quote unquote. When you watch that video, you hear him say that. Jamie Aebersold, etc. All the handful of videos. Just, oh my God, type in modes on YouTube and you're going to be directly at the door of hell with people confusing the snot out of it. Okay? It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Learn what your intervals are. If you've already learned the construction of major scales, you should be going next into learning what intervals are. The categories of intervals. Major, minor, perfect, augmented, and diminished. Okay? You can argue music opinion. You can argue music opinion till the cows come home. You cannot argue music fact. So, there's my speech. Hopefully this was a good eye-opener and an ear-opener for anyone who's paying attention. And hunt down the Barry Harris video because he basically says it's a scam. He never uses them. He's been playing jazz his whole life. He never uses modes. Okay? Is music modal? Are there styles of music that absolutely? Rock and roll is modal. Megadeth is modal. Blues is modal. What is the jazz? The whole, Kind of Blue album from Miles is modal. What is modal? Modal music, Oye Como Va is modal. Okay? So anything that uses a scale other than major or minor for the basis of the composition is modal. Right? So Chameleon, Herbie Hancock. Modal, B flat Dorian, till the cows come home. Okay? B flat Dorian or E flat Mixolydian, depending. It just goes back and forth from 2 chords, right? So anyway, don't get confused about modal stuff, and don't try and plug in modes when you're dealing with bebop changes going 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 C diminished, D minor 7, D sharp diminished. You're not going to be able to plug in modes. It's a form of paralysis when you're playing over fast changes. So just that's more for the guitar players out there. But anyway, hopefully this was helpful, and sorry about the rant, but I've just seen way too much confusion and people hiding behind the confusion to try and milk students about what the modes are. All right.